Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. Real Estate Coaching Radio is the nation's #1 daily radio show for realtors who demand authentic, real-time coaching. Get ready for fluff-free, unfiltered, full-strength honesty about what's truly working to get you into action, helping others, and making money now in today's real estate market. Now to our hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
3, 2, 1, and we are live. As we promised, we are going to be producing more podcasts. We're going to be producing more content. We're enhancing everything that we do in service to all of you guys during this crazy time. And we are going to jump to the second part, correct, Julie?
Yes.
Second part. So we're jumping to our second part of our plan. And this is called the Ultimate Real Estate Survival Guide. Then there's 3 parts to our plan. And just a quick overview. Part number 1 is personal. Now, personal is do not skip personal and go right to the next one, which is protect. And certainly do not skip the first 2 and go right to the third one, which is called profit. So personal is available for you right now to download. We're not going to put it on our main website. And I'm going to tell you that we've been criticized for not giving this information away on our main website. And the reason we're not doing it is because the information is constantly being updated. And if we put posts on timandjulieharris.com with telling you guys to download the content, and then those posts get basically, shared all over the internet, I can't go back and change all those links of all the information that was obsoleted and updated. So if you want the newest, latest breaking information on the different programs we're going to be telling you about that every agent needs to be jumping on, the easiest way for you to do that is take advantage of the coaching program that we created for all you guys that costs you nothing. So just so you know, Premier Coaching members, this is basically about maybe 10 or 15% of the content we have as far as Premier Coaching. It's not the same program, so don't kid yourself. We're not giving away our coaching program. But what we're giving away is a version of the coaching program where all the things we're teaching you guys how to do are designed to help you drill down and make it through this market. The most relevant, most important thing for all of you to do, and please hear my voice, please follow my directions, please do not debate it, think about it, Google it, just do it, is you have to right now text the word survival to 31996. Text the word survival to 31996. Text the word survival to 31996. We'll text you back a link to join the free coaching program. The free coaching program is called premier-experience.net. When you join the free coaching program, you're going to be given credentials, you're going to log in, and you're going to go immediately to the section where the information about mortgage forbearance, about how to basically cut all of your expense immediately by half. Every single big real estate company that Julie and I are consulting with right now, that's what we're telling them to do. We're telling them, A, to cut all their expenses and be brutal, and B, we're telling them to tell their agents to cut all their expenses and be equally brutal. We work with a couple of associations of realtors, and we're telling all the associations of realtors to not charge agents anything. Any renewal fees, annual fees, anything. None of that gets charged. Every single agent, every single brokerage, everybody that has anything to do with real estate needs to be cutting all their expenses, personal and business, by 50% now. And we wrote exhaustively and will continue to do so. And all that information is waiting for you over on that website. And all you've got to do is text the word survival to 31996. Now, once you've done that, once you've basically shored up your cash flow, kept your powder dry, you're in a strong financial position. What comes after that is we want you to learn how to lead generate in this market. And this is one of those sacred cows, almost religious conversations that people love to have. They want to debate this over that, the other thing. We're not going to waste our time with worrying about whether Instagram videos do or don't work, or whether we should be worrying about centers of influence and past clients and how that's going to be the only thing you're going to do. You guys just need to listen to what we're telling you. Some of you are looking for what you're supposed to be doing. You think you know, even if you've been through the past recession of 07 through 09, you don't know. This is not the same. This is 07 through 09. This is September 11th on speed. This is going to be more severe for our industry in particular than you can possibly imagine. So if you don't know how to do what's going to be necessary to do as in lead generation and thriving in this market, you won't make it. Just an interesting side note. A lot of brokers are panicked because they think they're going to lose. I'm hearing everywhere between 50 and 70% of their agents. I don't think that's going to happen. So brokers out there, listen to what I'm saying because this just makes sense to me. The reality of it is your agents will become what I'm terming zombified. They're basically going to be, walking dead, basically. They're not going to do any transactions, but you're going to see brokerages that are going to start coming out with new ways for agents to hold their licenses inside brokerages that don't require fees. So then they don't have to join their state associations, and they don't have to join their local MLSs and pay the fees. You're going to see a lot of that coming across. I know for a fact that 3 of the major brokerages that Julie and I work with are all creating these statuses for agents essentially to be zombified so they don't have to get out of the business. And furthermore, here's the other reason I don't believe there's going to be a mass exodus out of real estate, provided that the brokers and the MLSs and whatnot get their heads together and realize that they cannot be charging any agents any fees. The second reason is where the hell the agent's going to go. I mean, it's not like they're going to be able to get jobs. Guys, unemployment it's so bad. It's so bad right now what people are projecting that the government has asked the states, and have you noticed they've stopped reporting on the number of unemployment? Have you guys noticed that? The government asked them to stop reporting because they don't want people to be further panicked. But the reality of it is it could be as high, and this is unbelievably scary, truthfully, just to even think about this number, 30 to 40% of the country could be unemployed, right? Some people are saying 20%. Look, if it's only 20%, great, but that's how many people were unemployed after 2007. That's how bad it was. You remember how bad it was? Well, that's how bad it is now.
No, well, hang on a second. 2008, at the peak of that unemployment was 11%. The actual depression, good old-fashioned depression, at their peak was 24.9%. So if it's 30%, it's still worse than that. Now, that's scary.
We've been accused. Some people are starting to spin us, and I knew it was going to happen, so I didn't really care about, Tim and Julie are just being Debbie Downers. Well, how else can you talk about this stuff and not sound like a Debbie Downer? Is there a positive way to talk about a global pandemic?
Hooray, a recession.
Yeah, a recession.
Really?
Maybe a depression. Hooray.
Please.
All these people suffering. So listen, we have to stop worrying about if any of this is real, the politics behind it. Stop having those conversations. Guys, this is like, Julie, can you Google real quick the stages of grief?
Yes.
Okay. This is basically just, if you guys, unfortunately, as you get older, you will, all of us, suffer losses of people or, pets that we love. And years later, you'll go back and you'll realize that, you went through these cycles of grieving, these stages of grieving, almost exactly like, go ahead, read them.
Okay. The first one is shock, initial paralysis of hearing the bad news. Some of you guys last go around stayed in that zone for way too long. Then there's denial. You can see that on Facebook. Then there's anger. Some of that's bubbling up as well.
That's coming.
That's coming. Then
we
have bargaining. That's Zoe's specialty.
Our daughter.
Bargaining. Depression. That's when the final realization of the inevitable sets in. Testing, that's seeking realistic solutions, and then acceptance, finally finding the way forward. The faster you guys get to acceptance, the better you're going to do.
We need to use that. That's excellent content. So guys, here's the thing. What you're realizing and what you understand is that people are not all going to go through the cycle of grieving or whatever we want to call it as related to what we're experiencing. They're not going to go through it all at the same pace. Some people, as Julie just said, are going to be stuck in one of those initial 2 phases forever. And the thing is, they're going to find other people that are stuck there too. So they're going to normalize in their lives, never moving past the denial phase. They're just going to stay there forever. You can't do that. What we want you to do is we're going to try to take a practical and tactical approach to helping you guys survive and then thrive through this market as we possibly can. It's not going to be easy. I don't want to do this. I'm not enjoying this. None of our coaches are enjoying this. All the dozens of people that work for us are not enjoying this. The workload of having to help all of you guys through this is not fun for us, but we're going to do it. I'm just being honest.
It's 12:15 and I already burned out my cell phone and my laptop and went for a recharge.
Yeah.
Why? Because we're doing a lot of triage with you guys. That's okay. It's part of our job. We got to get through it together.
I didn't even check my cell phone battery. That's a good point. Mm-hmm. So we're going to remind all of you about this constantly. Let's get out of the first few phases. Let's move past thinking that anything that we thought worked to generate leads for us in the past market are going to work. We need to really lock into the fact that the only market that really is going to be viable in this market are going to be sellers. Sellers that have to sell. Again, someone argued with me about this yesterday, and that's fine because I showed them that basically they were wrong and why they were wrong. And here it is. There's no such thing as a buyer that has to buy because a buyer can always rent. No, do not argue with me about a 1031. Do not argue with me about a reload buyer. They can all rent, and the 1031 guy can pay his taxes. Or in this environment, he can even delay paying his taxes.
Yeah.
So the reality of it is there's no such thing as a buyer that ever has to buy. Many of you, 90% I bet, all of your transactions come from buyers. You bought buyers from Zillow. You have buyer-based CRMs. You have all these buyer programs. You've never developed the skills to know how to work with sellers. You really do not know how to actually survive in this market. So I have a question for you. Are you going to argue with me in your head? Are you going to say, Tim, I don't need to learn to do what I don't want to do, and I don't want to do it at the highest level because I know how to work buyers? Here's what's going to happen to buyers. And this just makes sense. It's logical. So let's not argue about it. They're going to take themselves out of the market. Julie, there was an article on go to CNBC. Diana Olick, I actually texted it to you this morning. Basically, I think it was 39% of all, there's a massive drop, basically buyers taking themselves out of the market. Duh, because they don't want to catch a falling knife. They don't want to worry about prices depreciating. They don't want to worry about interest rates going down.
29% down.
29% down. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they don't want to worry. That's what buyers are going to do. Buyers, if you only know how to work buyers, you might make it, but it's not going to be pleasant for you. So I strongly encourage all of you who are listening to my voice and Julie's voice to do everything it takes to move past the initial phases of grieving and move towards acceptance as fast as you can. And then the reality is that you have to get to work and work harder than you ever have before. Look, guys, I'm 50. I do not want this in my life any more than you do. You can see I'm still basically.
Well, we went through shock, denial, anger, bargaining, depression testing, and acceptance in about 48 hours.
Yeah, we had to.
Because we can't afford to let you guys drag it out. We've
right.
seen it too much before.
But
and
I'm
this
still
is worse
going through
than
it.
before.
Honestly,
absolutely.
I'm emotionally dealing with it every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
and we will for quite some time. This is what we've signed up for.
Julie and I are going on 6-mile runs. We weren't doing that before to burn off the stress so we can sleep. I mean, look, this is not easy for anybody, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse. So please just understand, if your business has been predicated on working with buyers, you're going to suffer needlessly. You need to focus on the fact that there are no such thing as have to buy buyers. There are such things as have to sell sellers. There are sellers that absolutely positively have to sell their house. There are sellers that absolutely positively will do a deal with you no matter what is going on anywhere, politics, pandemic, interest rates, does not matter who the president is. There are going to be sellers that have to sell. There are never going to be buyers that have to buy. So if you want to be relevant and stay in business, you have to focus on the sellers. Anybody who's been in the business for more than a blink knows what I'm saying is true. The old saying, if you got a list to last, has never been more true. Yesterday on the podcast, I had Jim Sullivan, and he offered, basically it's a probate system where you guys can chase probate leads. I'm not going to talk about that, but what I want you to do is text the word, all the leads with no spaces, all the leads, text it to 31996. And then we're going to text you back a direct link to alltheleads.com where you can basically get their system at a discount and you can start calling probate leads. Probate leads are we're rolling into our topic. Probate leads are one of the greatest ways to make money right now. So text the word alltheleads, not .com, all the leads. Just text all the leads to 31996. And when you do, you're going to get a direct link back and go and sign up for the free version of the site. Understand how probate works. He's going to teach you everything you need to know. Listen to the podcast I did with him yesterday if you want more information. Okay, so there's that. We need to move past the personal phase. All that information is waiting for you, what you need to be doing to shore up your expenses. This is not Dave Ramsey type stuff, guys. This is way more radical what we're asking you to do. We're asking you to literally get a forbearance on your mortgage. We're going to tell you how to do it. It's sitting over on the website. Forbearance on your mortgage payment, forbearance on your rental payment, forbearance on if you have vacation properties.
Credit cards, student loans.
Everything.
Even I had been researching all of these things. Even yesterday it came out that if you own multifamily, you can get a 90-day forbearance. So really, why would you wait? And so here's one of the things that I'm hearing. Well, we're going to be okay for a while. I'm not really that worried about this. Okay, really? What if unemployment actually makes it to 30%? And I don't think it's going to take that long to get there. They're expecting millions of unemployment applications next week. Okay, so that's not going to be good for the economy. I don't know why you would wait. Yeah, okay, you can make your mortgage payment next month. The government caused this For you to have to stay home and for people to be, freaking out, take advantage.
That's
it's
right.
Cash flow, people.
We're all Bernie voters now. Yay! No, I'm
know.
kidding, but you guys get the idea. It is funny how everyone's sitting around waiting for their government check and their government handout.
I know.
But to Julie's point, that is a valid point. It's like if the airlines lost your luggage, wouldn't you expect them to replace your luggage and the contents of the luggage?
Don't go all prideful on this.
Yes,
okay?
exactly. Set aside your ego. Don't be all prideful about this. Realize that these programs are out there. You have to take full advantage of them. There's other programs that are coming out. We've been hearing little snippets about an SBA program. As soon as that comes out, we're going to put that information on the Premier Experience site. If you want to get a free membership to that coaching program, which includes a daily semi-private coaching call with one of our coaches for free, just text the word survival to 31996. This is open for everybody. Every single real estate agent in the world can join this coaching program for free. So text the word survival to 31996. And Premier Coaching students know this is not the same coaching program, not even close, but it is something that we're trying to do for our basically our entire real estate community so that they can make it through this real estate. I don't even know what it's going to be. I don't even know what the big glamorous, shiny, fancy word's going to be. So Julie, you have to get on your call in 5 minutes. So
That's right.
What can we go through?
Well, okay, so I want to do the first point of part 2 called Protect Your Existing Business. And I'm going to start with a quote from Helen Keller. Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. So that's why we're bringing this to you guys, so you can get through those stages and take action. Point number 1, do an honest assessment of what you have in your pipeline that you can actually count on as much as possible, okay? So if you've been keeping your whiteboards updated, Premier Coaching clients, this is going to be easy. If you're in Premier Coaching and you haven't done it yet, go to Fundamentals, Whiteboard, and Visual Accountability. But your mission here is to know your numbers, and there's 3 specific buckets, and then I've got to get to Premier Coaching. First one is total number of active listings. What is their motivation level? Are they have to sell sellers or want to sell sellers? And let's be honest, what is your projected net commission value of these active listings? Projected net commission, what's the value to you? Your listings are your most valuable assets. Don't avoid them. You have to have massive communication with them right now. Which ones are most at risk? How many more do you need to surpass your magic number? And I've had lots of conversations about this. Sellers that are trying to take a break, you got to talk to them about doing virtual showings, keeping it on the market, all of that stuff.
Well, it's all scripting too, right? Mr. Seller, given what's going on with the global economy right now, what's the probability of your house being worth more, in 6 months than it is worth now? And nobody's going to say it's going to be worth more in 6 months unless they're not a motivated seller, which goes back to basic sales skills. You need to get out of the seller exactly what their motivation is. And waffly sellers that'll sell if they get their price and pigs fly, those are not the types of listings to be getting right now. You have to go after the sellers that are the most motivated, the probate sellers, a lot of the expired sellers. We teach you how to do this in the coaching program. Text the word survival to 31996.
Yes, so the next bucket that you want to track is your total number of pendings and the condition of that transaction. How solid are your deals right now? Who's actually through inspections, financing, and other contingencies? Keep your deals together. What's the projected net commission value of those pendings? And by the way, some news came out yesterday that appraisals are, a lot of the lenders are allowing drive-by picture-only appraisals. So those of you saying, well, how's it going to close if the appraiser can't get in? That's being made okay. So that little problem's going away. Then you're going to look at your, quote, serious buyers. To Tim's point, there's no buyer who has to buy, but you may have some motivated and qualified buyers. Do you know where their down payment's coming from and where they work? Is their job stable? What's the likelihood of them actually buying something? Notice how I'm leading with your actual listings that you've got to keep. Then we go to your pendings, which better stick. And then we go to buyers and, of course, listing leads. So that's all a numbers conversation. What do you actually have in your pipeline and what's at risk? Back to you, Tim. I've got to go to Premier.
Right. So we're going to be talking about, on the coaching program, we're going to be getting into the basics of sales skills, how to lead generate, which Julie didn't talk about today because we're in the protect mode. In the protect mode, that's where you have to protect the deals you have pending. You have to protect the cash flow that you have hopefully flowing. You have to make sure you know how to actually vet out a lender's letter or ultimate real estate addendum. Premier Coaching clients, you better make sure you're using that on every transaction. We're going to tell you also in the second phase of this program how to exactly go about making money when you're frankly having to be locked in home, when you're not able to actually go out and show listings or go to sellers' houses, we have a program created where you can make money at home. We're going to tell you how to do BPOs. We're going to tell you how to do all the things that are going to put money in your pocket the fastest. That's what the goal of this program is. That's what all of you need to be focused on. While Julie was talking, I was just scrolling for more news, and a Facebook thing popped up from one of our business pages, and somebody just announced that he's starting a 100-day video challenge where he's going to make 100 videos and he's going to put them on Facebook. And I thought to myself, that is absolutely somebody who's going to struggle in this market. He's not focused on the right thing. You guys have to realize in a market like this, you have to be proactive. You have to be willing to pick up the phone. I know what you're saying and thinking, most of you. That's not me. That's not what I do. That's too aggressive. That's the other thing. You're going to come up with every single excuse until, frankly, you have to do it. And that's the human nature. Most humans, what they'll do is they will not make change that they perceive will cause them pain until the perceived pain of not having made the change is greater. I give the example of a coaching client I had who, now this all happened prior to I started coaching him, but this is his story. He was massively overweight, had been for a long period of time. The doctor told him that he had developed diabetes. Diabetes creates circulation problems. Circulation problems creates problems with your appendages, and eventually you have to have, toes, fingers, legs cut off. And that's what happened to him. The doctor basically said, all right, I've been warning you about this for years. Now it's time for us to schedule surgery because you're developing gangrene in your foot. That is just horrible if you imagine it. Well, it wasn't until he actually was fearful of losing his foot that he actually took his fitness seriously. And not only did he lose weight, and I did see a picture of this, he got in such good shape, he was on the cover of a men's fitness magazine, all right? And he did it in like less than 2 years. Most of the weight came off inside 12 months. That is commitment, but what that tells you, and what should, about him, but also should tell you about the same thing. Most of us do not take action until we have a perception that we're going to lose something we already have. Virtually nobody is truly motivated by gaining something. Everybody is ultimately motivated out of the fear of loss. And what I'm trying to get you to understand is you are facing massive loss unless you take massive action in the directions that you're perceiving will cause you pain. Learning how to sell, learning how to pick up the phone, learning how to compete. All of you are basically, 90% of you have only had centers of influence in buying leads businesses for the last 10 years. That business model is dead. Dead. You just have to accept that and move past it as fast as possible. Tim, center of influence, past client, that's religious. How could you possibly say anything bad about that? You must not believe in... No, I do. I understand and accept the fact that centers of influence of past clients should be the core of everyone's business. It's the first thing we teach you guys to do in our Premier Coaching Program. What I am here to tell you is that's not going to put money in your pocket the fastest, because you're going to drop by, send little videos, whatever else you're going to do for your centers of influence and past clients. But what's the probability of you picking out a motivated seller? 100 people, you might find 2 or 3. Why don't you just instead learn how to go after the sellers that already have their hands in their air saying they have to sell their house? The reason you haven't been doing it is because it requires skill and will require some rejection, which is what you've been avoiding, most of you. That's the reason you've always gone after the easy. Stop going after the easy in this market because it's not going to work. You have to go after the hard. You've been hearing us say forever. We said this in our best-selling book. We've been saying this in our coaching program for decades. If you want ever-increasing levels of success, no matter what's going on in the economy, you have to do what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. Doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. So what are the things that you've been avoiding doing the most in your real estate business? Think about it. It's all the things that we're going to tell you to do. Those are the things that are actually going to make it so you make money helping people in this market. And if you don't do them, if you're passive, if you just try to make whatever you were doing before continue to work, you will needlessly suffer. That's just a fact, Jack. You know this. You know what I'm saying is true. Now, I know a lot of the tertiary markets and the secondary markets are not going to yet, they're not experiencing the pandemic. They're not experiencing the shutdowns, but it's coming. It's coming your way. And even if it's not, when you see New York City shut down, Chicago is going to shut down, LA is going to shut down, all the major cities, that is going to have an effect on your market too, for sure. I was talking to somebody who was in a bedroom community outside of Charlotte, I forget what, somewhere in North Carolina. And his community is 30-minute drive to the main working area, which is now shut down. And his market's been on fire. And I was trying to explain to him that if the market resets, if values drop, his market's going to suffer the most because people are going to choose to live closer in to a community and in a neighborhood closer to the city to lessen their drive than his. The only reason his market's been hot is because the prices of the closer in communities have gone up to the point where fewer people can afford it. And then I asked him this question: what were prices in your market, say from 07 to 09? And then he told me. I said, so what makes you think the prices can't go back down to that level? And he got it. And I want all of you guys to get it too. Don't know if there's going to be depreciation. Don't know and don't have a crystal ball what's going to happen on the other side of it. But I do know, those of you who are prepared, you can hope for the best until the cows come home, as Julie and I certainly are. We're not enjoying this, but we have to do it. Hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. Less hoping, more preparing, folks. Real estate agents, you're spending too much time on the hoping side of it, not enough time on the preparing side. The easiest thing for you to do, it is free. We're providing this to the real estate community for the sake of at least trying to help some of you survive, as many of you that will pay attention. Text the word survival to 31996. Just text the word survival to 31996. In the meantime, guys, stay close. We're going to be doing podcasts throughout the day. I have Brad Inman on the podcast later today. I'm really looking forward to that interview. Stay close, guys. Stay connected. If we're helping you and you want to show your appreciation, do us a favor. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes. Give us a 5-star review on Google+. Help us get the word out about what we're trying to do for our industry. That's the way you can show gratitude for what we're trying to do for all of you guys. Have a great day. We'll talk to you on the podcast constantly.
This program has been a presentation by Tim and Julie Harris, Real Estate Coaching. For more information on our real estate coaching and training programs, visit our website at timandjulieharris.com. Remember to tune in weekdays at noon for upcoming shows, and until next time, thank you for listening to Real Estate Coaching Radio with Tim and Julie Harris.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.